Welcome to this special bonus episode of
Tabletop Scholar.
I'm James.
I'm Jade.
And today we are going to be reviewing the 2024 Monster Manual.
Alrighty, from Dungeons and Dragons, which is personally one of my favorite and one of my first RPG games.
This is the old one.
I have that copy, actually.
It's a very nice copy.
It's a very nice copy.
So, before we dive into it, I first want to show off the other two books that came out. We're actually going to use this right here in a minute. Here, we'll just move that slightly to the side. Anyway, this is the 2024 Player Handbook. This is a fantastic handbook. It fixed every problem that I had with the 2014 handbook.
It's very nice. It's a very nice handbook.
Beautiful.
Truly, honestly, I've looked through it quite a bit.
Prop that up on the other window so people can look at it.
It's very nice. The artwork in it is just absolutely stunning. I'll say that right now because that was one of the first things that drew me to it. Beautiful.
We also have the special collector's cover of the player handbook. We'll set that one in front of it instead. Oh my God. Already?
I'm good. I'm good.
We have to cut that out.
I'll cut that out.
She gets really tired after she eats, and we just had lunch. So, all right, so that's the player handbook. This is the 2024 Dungeon Master Guide. Here, show that one off.
Very cool. This is, I have not seen this at all yet, so I'm very excited to take a look.
I can't even reach this.
Do you want it?
Well, not now. Okay, so that is our Dungeon Master's Guide. Fantastic. Once again, fixed every problem that I had with the other. This is the special edition version of that. Here, you can show that one off next. But now, what we're working on today. See them side by side? An all-new 2024 Monster Manual.
Very cool.
Special edition hardcover.
Very, very cool.
We'll put that one up there instead.
Get this. Actually, I would like to keep this.
Can't have that one. But this is the special edition. So now that we've shown that, I'm going to talk to you about what is in this because I really like it. If you're familiar with the 2014 Monster Manual,
yep.
I really like this one.
I'm excited to see some of the stuff that they got, all the updates and stuff like that. Especially, I feel like their artwork has greatly improved, and that's awesome.
There is a lot more artwork. I like it a lot. But more importantly, the biggest change in the Monster Manual, aside from including a few new monsters, first and foremost is everything is in alphabetical order. In the old Monster Manual, I will actually show you. You used to go to the section on dragons, right? Look at the aboleth. The new aboleth is so much better. So we start off, angels are in their own section, right? And if you turn to angels, you have the Deva, the Planetar, and the Solar, all right next to each other. And you go a little bit farther into here, and there's a section for beholders. All the beholders are under one overarching thing with multiple subsections, right? And if you go a little farther, you get, sorry, I'm trying to turn to the page with the devils and the dragons and all of that. So, skipping over, you can see here's demons, have their own section.
Oh,
and then you skip through the demons, and then you have devils. So all the devils are in one section. And then you also have all your dragons in one section. Now here's the problem. A lot of people didn't know that, and when you're like in the thick of it trying to go through it really quickly, you might forget that the silver dragon is under the dragon section and not in the S's where it's silver dragon. With the 2024, they have changed that. I will show you.
Please do.
Take this one, and it's true alphabetical order all the way through. The very first thing that has changed when you open it up is the how to use a monster. It actually explains the stat blocks, how they're used. It doesn't really dive into how CR is more of an art than a science. CR stands for challenge rating. Right?
Okay.
But if you look at everything in here, in the anatomy of a monster, if you will, talks about the name and general details. The combat highlights are here where it's 3, so or 2 is combat highlights. Section 3 is your ability scores for the monsters.
Great.
Section 4, not all. In the other edition, it did not list the full stat block for in this way for monsters. Like knowing their mod and their save, you see that the Vampire Familiar is actually proficient in Dex saves.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, he's also proficient in Wisdom saves.
Easier to get a lot easier to get information.
Absolutely. If you look at Section 4 with other details, it says that CR entries appear here. So challenge rating is still more of an art form than a science, but I feel like it's a little more balanced than it used to be. And then you have the physical traits of your monster, the actions that your monster can take.
It's like a guide following you through it.
And then down here you have bonus actions. So actions and bonus actions are broken apart. And then some monsters will have reactions and legendary actions. The Vampire Familiar doesn't have that.
Okay.
So if you skip past that, it lists treasure, narrative description, all of those things, explains what the parts of a stat block are, what the hit dice for your monsters are, how to give your monsters gear and how to use that gear. It talks about this, if you look at the challenge rating and then the experience that you should get from the challenge rating.
Cool.
So it does dive into those things and how to use them
I've always
for
wondered
monsters.
how to use the XP.
Yeah, a lot of people don't use XP, they'll use milestone.
I've noticed it. I've never used XP, but I've always been curious on how it works and stuff like that. So this is very cool to see it just plainly in text.
Yes. So, like I said, the art for the Aboleth is way cooler.
Oh, that's sick.
Substantially so.
That's
I really
really
like
cool.
that. And even the Arakocra, it's better. But let's go ahead and skip over to the very first one was Demons, right? So let's skip over to Demons. And you'll notice before we even get to Demons, Adult Black Dragon, right? Because the dragons, Black Dragons, have their own section separate from the Dragon section, unlike the 2014 Monster Manual. So if you want a Black Dragon, you turn to Black Dragon. And that is so generous of you. Acting like a dragon but not eating anyone.
Every time.
Yeah. So
Somebody get me help.
the various ages of the Black Dragons are all in one section.
So do different ages have different stats?
Oh yeah. So here, take a look. We'll take the young one, or the Wormling, right? AC 17, 33 hit points. But if we take an ancient Black Dragon, AC 22, 367.
Oh, okay.
Big difference.
Yeah.
So it'll get into the lair actions and everything, but see, once you're past that, no more dragons. That's a big break from the 2014 edition. If we turn to Demons, oh no, Blue Dragon. Again, not in the dragon section. Brass Dragon. And it just populates everything in between.
Bronze. Oh, I see.
Yeah. Brass, bronze, they're all in there. And then it skips.
And it helps
got
you be more
Blitz.
specific what you're looking for as well.
Now, Cambion is a mortal, but they have a fiendish ancestor more so than a tiefling, right? But they're not under the devils. And look at the Casmi art. So much better. They used to look like these weird mosquito-looking things. It still kind of does, but now it actually looks imposing.
I think that's really sick.
Yeah.
I'd be scared of that.
Look at that.
That's cool.
Jewel is incredible. So I want to turn real quick though to the demons. Oh wait.
What you
I have
got?
to stop here.
Okay.
Commoner stat blocks.
Here we are.
So whenever you come across commoners in the game, there's constant commoners. They're everywhere because it's D&D.
Right.
And there were stat blocks to use, but this one actually lists their backgrounds, the kind of things that they can do.
Okay, I see all the different.
Commoner has proficiency in one skill of the DM's choice and has advantage whenever it makes an ability check using that skill. I like that a lot. They're still AC 10 with 4 hit points, just like they were before.
Pilgrim, scribe, servant, shepherd,
Yeah.
student. That's very cool.
You'll notice the Death Tyrant is a type of beholder, and it's not in a beholder section. It's its own monster now because of the alphabetical order, which I like. Deva is not underneath the angels subheading.
Okay.
And
That's so cool.
Draco Lich. Oh yeah, the doppelganger.
That's
pretty
really cool.
Dragon turtle.
Oh wait!
And
I want to see that. The art for it is just so detailed and so, like, it's shocking. It's hopping off the page, which I really
fantastic.
seen or started to appreciate, especially when it comes to the 2024 handbook. Poke through that quite a bit if I can speak English.
I can speak sometimes.
But I think the art's been really cool.
I like here how when you encounter a druid, they actually have a stat block for a druid, and you don't just have to build one, right? Because
That's
druids
really cool.
is one of the player classes. Okay, I promise I'm gonna get. Wait, I passed it, didn't I? Because that was E's, and I was looking for D's. So a dretch, there we go. A dretch is a type of demon, right there.
Okay.
But dretches,
Ooh.
they're not under the demon category anymore. And
It tells
they
you
would.
here as well what it is. So small fiend, demon, chaotic evil, stuff like that. It's very, like, anything you could want to know about it, including alignment and stuff like that, is set.
So if you look, what would come after Demi-Lich would be demon, and there's no demon section. So if you want to look for a specific demon, let's say a Garistro, right? So we'll actually turn back here to the G's. It's G-O. She's doing it again. That was so generous of you. Screaming like a Garistro. Oh, here's a good one. See, that's a demon. The
That's
Glabrezu.
so cool. Ooh, that's
Yeah.
so neat. And then it has like it has situational art, which I appreciate. It's not
Yeah.
just a monster, but it has an interaction with them, which I think is really cool.
Yep.
So this one happens to be holding the one captive.
All right, here we go. A Garistro, right? It's no longer under the demon section. It has its own heading in the book. Now, I want to share a point of contention that I had from the 2014 Monster Manual. I'm going to show it to you first.
Alrighty.
Go back to it. And in the back, you have beasts, okay? In the back here, they have an index of stat blocks, and then they have a bunch of like lesser things where you have humans and what have you. But if we scoot past the NPCs into the beasts, we'll see there is a heading here for beasts. Let me just turn all the way over. I promise it exists. Okay, so it's miscellaneous creatures. You have ape, awakened shrub, awakened tree, axe beak. If you look in here, the blink dog is in the back. And the blink dog in this one is kind of like ugly looking, like it'll fight you, but the blink dog in here.
I saw the blink dog. I
shiny
liked it a
and
lot. I
fey-looking.
wanted it.
All right, so here's the one I had contention with. What's the difference between venomous and poisonous?
Don't move me in the spot like that.
If it's venomous and it bites you,
paralyzes.
it kills you. If it's poisonous and you bite it, it kills you.
Oh, okay.
See the difference?
Yeah.
All right, so that said, poisonous snake.
Okay. So if I eat that snake, I'm gonna die.
Right, because it's a poisonous snake. So if you
Right.
eat the snake, you'll die. But if you read, if it bites, it does piercing damage and you have to make a con save or take poison damage because they meant venomous snake.
Oh,
And they
okay.
put poisonous snake.
Very cool. So does it correct that? And
It corrects it.
Very
And let me
cool.
show you.
Please do. Is it still in the back?
It's in the back,
Okay.
yes, but it actually says animals now.
Okay.
So we start in the section here, Appendix A is animals.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a much larger selection of them and no longer separates the dinosaurs out. Dinosaurs used to have their own heading, and now you see the Allosaurus, the
I see.
Ankylosaurus, even the T-Rex are all in the animal section. The T-Rex is actually next to the venomous snake.
Sick.
So they do have constrictor snakes and
Oh, wow.
giant constrictor snakes, but we go back here to the V's. See, look, plesiosaurs. Right next to piranhas.
Ooh. Raven, reef shark, swarm of bats.
TUV, venomous snake,
Very
right
cool.
there. They fixed it, right next to the T-Rex.
All right.
I love that.
Really
Thank
cool.
you so much, Wizards, for correcting
Thank you very much.
the Venom versus Poison debacle.
It's clearly been on his mind for a few years.
10 years.
10
For
years.
10 years. I was like, why does it say a poisonous snake when it's a venomous snake? Thank you for fixing it.
Thank you for fixing it
love
for all
you.
of our sakes.
Yes. So, just going back to the book, I don't know what isn't to like about this one. Again, you'll see the stat blocks are very well laid out. The artwork is pretty incredible.
Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous.
Other big changes, aside from the headers being different. Oh, that fell over.
That doesn't.
Go ahead and put that one back up so people can
Sure thing.
look at that beautiful monster manual cover. So after we have the animals, there are a couple other sections that are very useful that are not in the 2014 edition.
Okay.
So let me turn to that. Okay, so we start off with the monster lists, and here's one of the more useful things because if you're a DM who's run a lot of 2014 edition and you're not quite ready for the 2024, some people will call it 5.5.
Cool.
I would refer to it as 5.5.
I've been referring
because
to it as 5.5.
really the difference between this and the 2014 edition is quite similar to the differences between 3.5 and 3.
Okay.
But it's their game, they're gonna call it whatever they want. Let's be honest, this is an improved version of 5th edition, which would be 5.5. You can call it 2024, I don't care. But if you look over here, you have stat block conversions.
That is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
That is definitely taking into account your previous fan base.
Yep.
And it makes a transition into something newer and different a bit easier, especially when it's been so long since you've released
Yes.
a new copy.
So not every monster had a complete overwork or remake of any sorts.
Right.
The ones that did are all listed here. And you'll see the 23rd, I can speak sometimes. The 2014 stat block of the Arakocra in 2025 is the Arakocra Skirmisher. So rather than giving like a full revision, it's like just use this one instead. And that works a lot better. So even the fairy dragon, if red, orange, or yellow, well now it's just a fairy dragon youth. Or the fire snake is now called the salamander fire snake.
Very cool.
There is one difference. The slod, they're now called sloddy.
Okay.
You know, slods. We used to call them slods.
Okay.
But plural, according to this, is sloddy. And let me turn to it and show you.
Please do. I'd like to see what these are. I've never heard of these before.
I think you were actually there that night when we were fighting them in D&D. They were just reworked slots. Well, sloddy, as they are officially sloddy now. Oh, here they are. See?
Oh, I
Slotty.
remember those.
Yeah, so tadpole slod, blue slod, red slod, not to be confused with salad, gray salad. So they are all under one heading for the sloddy,
Okay.
which I thought was weird.
Considering that they didn't choose to deal with any others.
Yeah, this is the only one. Now, it could be argued that the word creatures are in their own subsection, but I argue that's because all of them start with the name word.
Well, these ones start with slot, do they not?
They do, but they're different types of slot, right?
True.
You have a red slot, a gray slot, a blue slot, and red dragons have their own section. Blue dragons have their
Fair
own
enough.
section. But all the slotty are in the same section. If we look to vampires, you'll also notice vampires are a section.
Okay.
We don't
Is
put
it
the vampire
because
familiar.
they start with V and, you know, dragons start with like, okay, so if it's a blue dragon, it starts with B technically. And then if it's yellow dragon, it starts with Y technically. But slods, they always start with S because it's slod and then the adjective that goes with it. Do you understand what I'm
But
saying?
it doesn't though. See? Red,
Oh,
slot.
I do see.
Blue, slot.
I see what you're saying.
They
I
didn't
think
do
it
that
said
with
slide
dragons.
blue. You were correct.
So if you come over to vampires, you could have a vampire Nightbringer, a vampire Umbral Lord. I don't know why they just called it that, but they stuck all the vampires into a section
Okay.
that is actually vampires. It's a little weird, but they don't have the undead section like they did before. Now
Right.
they have a section for vampires. So ghouls and ghasts and zombies all have their own individual entries now, separate from the undead. But vampires are vampires,
Very cool.
apparently. That was a little weird, but I'm okay with that. Over here we have warriors. Now they have a whole bunch of different types of warriors, but they put them all under one section, which used to be under the NPCs.
Okay. So they've changed to that now?
Yes. Now, elementals are not in their own
very
section.
cool.
The water elemental and the water weird are next to each other because the word water heads them both up. But after that, we come into the whir creatures. The whir creatures do not have their own heading. They just all start with the word whir.
Right.
So they're in a
You can see
logical
all the different
alphabetical
kinds
order.
and stuff like that.
So why did they do that? And because like, if it's whir tiger, whir wolf, why couldn't they do vampire lord, vampire spawn?
I can see it. I can see that.
I would like to know the creative process that went into that because it doesn't really make sense.
I think the creative process would be really cool, just in general.
Yeah.
To hear the thoughts behind making something like this, especially something this in depth that you know your fan base is just absolutely huge, and goes over every detail as we can see from his, his snake POV.
Well, if you can't tell, I read the other one. I don't.
And a
know
lot
how
of
many
people
times.
have.
Like
a lot of people have. So you have to be very
Yeah.
meticulous with stuff like this.
Well, and again,
People are gonna ask questions.
yeah. So these are the actual monsters in your game. So this is gonna see a lot of use.
Right. Exactly.
Like, this one here, this is my third monster manual, and this one's almost falling apart.
Right.
That's because I used it so much. You can actually see, I'll show you on the zoom in, but you can see how my corners are beat up, my pages are beat up. It's starting to fall apart because I've just used it so many
Right.
times.
Absolutely.
This feels like sturdier construction to me.
Think so?
Well, even just picking it up, it doesn't wiggle as much as that one did. I don't know if they just changed who binds their books. It does feel like it's a sturdier built book than the previous editions.
If anyone knows where the manufacturers had made it, please do let us know in the comments.
I mean, I can actually just like color.
I was trying to engage the viewers.
Well, if you want to engage the viewers and be like, hey, please like this video, subscribe to our channel. It helps us a lot.
It helps us a lot.
Any questions?
Any questions? Please do comment them down below.
No, any questions
No,
for the
any
viewers?
questions for the viewers.
I'm gonna put my
I'm gonna
finger
put
in your
my-
ear. So check it out. A yokelol is another type of demon, but he's all the way in the back of the book this time.
Oh, okay.
I do like the way they changed him. He looks less like a tree stump, more like a cross between a tree stump and a slime and a demon, which,
That's what he is.
well, I mean, it's a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Other than that, oh, I remember what I was gonna do.
Oh, that's
In the
sick.
very back, oh, the Yanti. Oh, that's the other thing they did. So they stuck the Yanti together, right? So to a degree, it does make sense to put Yanti together because you'll have purebloods, the Malison. They have two different types of Malisons now. They didn't have that before. Yanti Infiltrator, that's new. But the Yanti Abomination, that's not new. And zombies have different types. It's only one page of them. So you have zombie and you have ogre zombie and you have beholder zombie.
Okay.
But ghasts and ghouls are technically zombies and they're still in their own section. So I would like to also I would like to understand the thought process behind that.
Absolutely.
Not really a complaint, just hey, you separated everything else out. Why not separate this out too?
Yeah.
So if you are looking, there are a few things that'll still be under a heading. Yanti, vampires, right? Slotty. Now let's go past that little section where it tells you how to update to the modern from here, right?
Right.
If we look on this side, you have monsters by habitat. So it breaks down by CR.
Oh, cool.
So it tells you the challenge rating for every beast in that habitat. So it makes it way easier to just pull out a monster when you need it.
Right.
You don't have to memorize the whole book. Just familiarize yourself with the appendix. So for example, if you need a coastal monster that's a CR8, right? So normally a Hydra is a CR8 monster that lives on the coast.
Yeah.
And it cut all its heads off. So we look for coastal monsters and we go down to 8. Very first thing on the list is a Hydra. And then, bronze dragon. But if you want to do, so an adult white dragon. So adult white dragons are a CR13. So if you look Arctic monsters, You're going to scroll down, CR13, there it is, adult white dragon.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, makes it easier to find some stuff.
It does. Or, you also have forest monsters, grassland monsters, hill monsters, mountain monsters, swamp monsters, all of the various terrain
All you gotta do
ranger
is
can
know
choose.
where you're looking.
Yes. I like this. Urban monsters.
Oh, those are very common animals. Okay, that's very cool.
And then after that, they've arranged them by type. So if you are looking for a heading, you can look in the back. The dragon heading lists all of the dragons that are in here, from black dragons all the way up to winged kobolds and wyverns. They also have half dragons.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, they have them in the old one, but they're not under particular settings. So let's go to half dragon. Wait. Almost there. There we go, half dragon. Look how amazing that looks.
Wow. Oh my gosh,
Right?
that art is.
So the thing with half
absolutely
dragons
incredible.
though, any habitat, the treasure is always armaments. Right? I like how it puts that. It tells you what habitat to put them in, what kind of treasure to give from them.
Okay, very cool.
The old monster manual didn't really dive into that as much.
Right.
You had to really read the lore.
You have to
to get it.
search through it.
So you get all the way into here, you have the Yugoloths. So there are 4 different Yugoloths. But if you look, the way that they're in the book, let's go to the U's. T-U-W.
I thought it was in Y.
Huh?
I thought it was in Y.
No, Ultraloth.
Oh, I thought you said Ugoloth.
So if we look, Ultraloth is by itself.
Okay.
So they did separate Yugoloths. Lycanthropes don't actually have like a whole section. It just says the word creatures by name. So it's interesting. I don't know how else to describe it other than that, but if we go to the last page here, this is monsters by challenge rating. And a lot of people will get online and they'll be like, oh, I'm looking for a CR4 monster, right? And then you look through it and you're like, I don't know what to do. So if you look at CR4 and you just need a CR4 monster like now, all right, so let's just grab one. You can grab a bone naga. You could grab a black pudding. The other thing in here, the incubus and succubus. It used to be incubi were male and succubi were female, but if you look in the book now, there are male and female versions of both.
Oh, okay.
So
We love that.
a little more inclusive, if not, accurate to like lore of where
I
the
see
incubi
it.
and succubi come from.
Female,
So,
male.
yeah. And it lists the stat block, but no longer ties the gender of a monster to its type.
Good.
We'll just take
Gives
a
the
look
DM
real
a little bit more freedom to incorporate things like that into the backstory as well, especially if they've run into this specific one before.
quick. It does, and I'm almost there. Sprites, stone giants. There we go. Succubus. So if you look, there's the succubus, but then there's also the other succubus. So
Very cool. I like that. I like the idea of inclusivity without outright shouting it. I like that.
And that's pretty much it for the 2024 Monster Manual. Do you have any questions before we conclude?
No, I think I'm all good. We covered quite a bit and got to know the Monster Manual pretty well, considering that I've never looked at it. I feel like we did a great job.
Yep. Well, thank you very much for following along. You can pick this up. I believe it comes out actually Tuesday.
Okay.
What's it, the 4th? Maybe the 4th? Thereabout. It comes out this week. So please go to your friendly local game store and support them. If you don't have one nearby, you can purchase it online. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it at D&D Beyond. But you can also find it through our store's website, www.theguardtower.com. We still have some available. We are out of the special edition cover, but we will likely get more in. They usually do a second run of those. But we have plenty of the regular cover in. They are available here in store and online, starting, I believe it's Tuesday of this week. Very
Alrighty.
much.
Thank
I'm
you
James.
so much. This was Jade.
This is Jade.
This is Jade.
Was Jade.
Is Jade.
And this has been Tabletop Scholar.
Bye.